Siomra
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sure Look, Sure Listen, the podcast that takes a pop with culture.
Sure look, sure listen. Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen. Oh, very good, Benjamin. You've Irished it up a little bit there for the week that's in it. The week of Patrick's Day 2022. No one's going to listen to this now because I think it's 2 years old.
What are you on about?
That's a good bit of mischief. Anyway, Ben, sure, look, we don't have time to get into this because we've lots of trailers to look at, including the trailer for Here and Heretic, where Hugh Grant finally gets to play the baddie that we all know he's always meant to be. And there's been a reboot of your favourite comic, Blood Boy. And is it not called Blood? No, it's not called Blood Boy. What's it called? Hellboy. Hellboy, Benjamin.
Hellboy.
The crookedy old fella. And there's the spin-off of your favourite cartoon of recent years, Harley Quinn, the Kite Man Hell Yeah, I think it's called. And we got an animated trailer for the new Batman. I'm running out of breath. We got an animated trailer for the new Batman, the Caped Crusader. And we got the first in what is inevitably going to be a barrage of Wolverine and Deadpool related spoiler cameo clips.
Sure, listen, Michael, that's what modern movie making is all about. Overlap, cameo, synergy. Sell,
Synergy.
baby.
Yeah. Get it in ya.
Now, for the keen-eyed mix among us here on the podcast, you may notice that my name on this week's podcast, Michael, is Ben Bright Hamlet Colopy. And sure, listen, there's a reason for that, Michael. It's because this week we're doing an exhumed episode on the 1988 bloody classic bit of... No, I've got that wrong.
1998.
Got that wrong for a start.
Yeah.
1998.
Yeah.
Classic sci-fi cult hit, Michael, Dark City.
Yeah, it's not even Clive Owen, it's Rufus Sewell. They're fairly interchangeable though.
Look, listen, Michael, we could sit here all day and wax lyrical about who is Rufus Sewell and who is Clive Owen. And ladies and gentlemen, if you like that kind of content, you'd probably like this podcast.
What's wrong with you, first of all? Get yourself sorted out.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you know what else you'd probably enjoy? Going onto the platform, wherever you listen, and giving us a 5-star review.
5 stars.
Go do that now.
For this Rufus Sewell
5
Clive
stars.
Owen banter.
We'll take 4.5, right? We'll take 4.5 because I'll admit Rufus Sewell or Clive Owen is a very niche game, right? I'll admit. I'll take a 0.5 demerit for that. But go up and give us a listen give us a listen and give us a review wherever you listen. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we'd love more reviews. Our social credit, our self-esteem, it's in the gutter. Not unlike Robert Zemeckis' grasp of the human feature.
So what you're doing there is you're taking another swing at Robert Zemeckis using emerging technology to make Tom Hanks look like some sort of nightmarish creation.
Michael, this movie looks like it was made on Windows 98. Fuck you, emerging technology.
Get out of here with your emerging technology and your Tom Hanks. First of all, Benjamin, hear from the director of Back to the Future. What an interesting concept. I really hope. So the concept appears to be that the camera is in a fixed position and we are going to witness the story or the stories that happened at this fixed position in time and space throughout history, even as far back as the time of the dinosaurs.
Michael, it looks like we're going to see a good old-fashioned bit of prehistory making its way all the way to the now.
Very good, very exciting, very interesting. It's using de-aging technology to de-age Tom Hanks and Robin Wright Penn.
Badly, by the looks of that trailer, Michael, because I looked at it and went, that's an old young boy.
That's a very
that's an old young boy there.
You can't. The problem with the de-aging is they insist on using the same actors. So sure, you can de-age Tom Hanks so he looks like a young boy, but it just looks like old Tom Hanks with young Tom Hanks pasted over him because he's still moving about like an alpha.
So I think, that's one issue, isn't it? He still has the knees of a Tom Hanks now. You can't de-age those, Michael. If you could, you'd be running laps.
Go on.
I'm just saying you've got bad knees. But one of the interesting things I think you run into at this point in Tom Hanks' career, Michael, is there's almost a cultural zeitgeist perception of him as a cuddly alpha. So even when you take him and you put him in a film and you de-age him, the audience expectation of Tom Hanks is, oh, there's that cuddly alpha. Why is he wearing shorts? What's that? What's he doing?
Why is he dressed like
What's wrong with Tom Hanks?
Why is he dressed like a little boy? Why is he moving around like a old man who has had a CGI younger version of himself pasted over him, not unlike the podcaster Ben Colopy?
Yeah, well, look, Michael, it's no secret that I'm 86 and pretty much exist in the podcasting space as an AI construct at this point. It's very hard to tell where the filters end and I begin, or vice versa. It's just a challenge.
I don't know, Ben. I don't know if what you've just said there is true, though, because it's certainly not true for me. I don't think of Tom Hanks as a cuddly old man. It still frightens me every time I see Tom Hanks as old now.
Oh, well, you see, that's because you've attached yourself to the youthful exuberance that you felt when you saw him on screen as a boy.
Yeah, because I was a little boy, Benjamin. I was watching him in films like Big and Bonfire of the Vanities. And Big.
Michael, classics, the lot of them.
Yeah, one of my favourites was Big.
But Michael, this proves to me beyond shadow of a doubt that Robert Zemeckis has never been to the theatre, and he has recently been taken to a play and been shown that you can actually do quite a bit in one scene. And he's gone, so you're telling me...
Yes.
You're telling... Now, I don't know what Robert Zemeckis sounds like, but for the purposes of this, he's from New Jersey and was an extra in The Sopranos.
Spice him up a little bit, yes. Spice him up a little bit.
I assume that Tom Hanks took him to the theatre. And for the entire performance of one of Anton Chekhov's plays... there was a very loud New Jersey accent in the back of the theatre going, so wait, you're telling me that it's not going to change. This is what we're looking at for an hour and a half.
And then Tom Hanks said, yeah. Oh yeah, it's life is life. Got a lot of chocolates in many ways.
And that's it. That's all we look at for the entire show.
And let me tell you, if that goddamn gun doesn't go off in the third act, I'm walking out of here.
Anyway, Robert Zemeckis, noted New Jersey, and Robert Zemeckis left the theatre and went, I'm going to make that into a fucking movie.
Yeah, with guns. Benjamin, did you get a big bang? Yeah. Did you get a big wallop? Did you get a big whiff? An old nose juice of the opening scene from Up in this? I was like, they've made a 2-hour movie out of that fucking bit of crass emotional manipulation that was the opening scene of Up. This is the opening scene of Up, extended out into a 2-hour film.
So it's either he went to a play for the first time or saw the film Up.
Yeah, he saw the film Up for the first time and went, oh my God, if that crib doesn't go off in the third act, I'm walking out of here.
Look, I think it's going to be an interesting experiment, Michael. It strikes me as one of those... I think we're probably entering into the era of the pure directorial vanity project.
Disagree. I think that has been ever since they started making films. But go on.
Well, let me rephrase it because I think you're spot on. I think egotism and directorial debuts are well, not directorial debuts, but direction in general is full of egotism. But what I reckon it is, Michael, it's the pushing the envelope of narrative storytelling, either due to the fact that many of the great directors are going senile, and much like American politics, they just keep letting them do shit.
Megalopolis.
So we have Megalopolis.
Yeah.
I think to a degree we had it a little bit with Steven Spielberg's Meet the Fabelmans. A little bit with that. Maybe 10 years ago, Michael, we had it with Richard Linklater's Boy, where he actually filmed a boy's life chronologically correctly. No CGI involved. He just filmed it in bursts.
Yeah.
Every decade, I think. It was very strange.
The boy didn't even want to be involved. He was like, fuck off, director Richard Linklater. Leave me alone.
Richard Linklater, go away. I didn't know what I signed when I was but a boy.
I was only a little fella, Richard Linklater, and you've been following me around my whole life. I hate it.
But now we've got this bizarre thing. And look, it could be interesting.
I think it will be. I thought I got a good vibe off it. My biggest fear is not the one camera setup, which I think is I'm intrigued by and surprised that it's never been done before. So hop up in the comments and tell us that it has, obviously. But my concern with it is the maudlinness of it just being that scene from Up that made me cry.
Yeah, you're probably going to cry for most of this film, Michael.
Benjamin, speaking of
Yeah.
crying for most of a film, one of my favourite films from 2 years ago was the film Shh, Be Quiet, the Blind Man's Gonna Get Us. I can't remember what it was called.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that's... You're mixing up your films there, Michael.
Yeah. Shh. What was it? What was that film called? Shh. She's over there. She's over there, I think it was called. What was it called, Ben? Stop laughing. Tell me what it was called. She's
It's
coming
called
together.
Blind Spot.
Blind
It's
Spot?
called Blind
No, it's
Spot.
not. Blind Spot's the TV show with Jamie Alexander and James Spader. No,
Don't
that's the
Breathe
Blacklist.
is what it's called, Michael.
Don't
It's
breathe.
called Don't Breathe.
Oh, we're making a balls of this. I think it was called Shushi's over there.
Oh,
He's
what an
coming to get you.
episode. Yeah, look, Michael, it's a good point well made there.
thanks.
Despite the fact that we both kind of butchered that. Ladies and gentlemen, this week we saw the announcement of, very interestingly, because he's still alive, but we saw an interesting announcement of a biopic on Hugh Grant. And we're getting a look into Hugh Grant offset.
Out of 10. 10 out of 10. Out of 10.
Yeah,
Very
what
good.
we're actually referencing here, ladies and gentlemen, is Heretic. The latest A24 Creep Fest was announced this week, and it stars none other than Hugh Grant as a creepy serial killer, or a man born to play a role. No,
It's just
whatever way
the
you want to
most-
look at it.
The most natural role to actor match I've ever seen.
He does creepy very well. He doesn't mean to a lot of the time, but he does. And in this, it's a match made in heaven. So this is pretty interesting. There's a few things happening here. Look, I think it's fair to say it's probably going to be good. And ever since I learned how A24 backs a film, I've understood how they're so successful. They only back a film after it's fucking made, which is it's a lot easier to
lot
make
easier.
a hit.
You go to them and you say,
It's a lot
I've got a
easier.
film, A24, would you like to back it? And they say, give us a look. And you say, what? And you say, give us a look at it and we'll see if it's any use. And then you show them and they go, oh yeah, we'll back that, looks pretty good.
Yeah, let me see the whole thing. No, I need the money up front to make the film. No. I'd like
No,
to
no.
see the whole thing, please.
That's how we ended up with
Um,
The Flash.
Yeah, and to be honest, lads, if I could do that with every single financial decision I've ever made, I'd probably be pretty solid. Let me see how it
Yeah.
turns out. Show me the whole thing, please, on that investment.
Yeah, you wouldn't be wearing those glasses now, Ben, for example.
That was mean. I don't know why my physical appearance has been brought into it, or a lack of trendy eyewear.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Is any wonder I'm grey, Michael? But anyway, Heretic. Michael, fuck me,
Go on.
we're rambly this week.
Yeah, it's a bit much.
Heretic, Michael, is about two missionaries who are going
Hmm.
around. They look to be either Mormon or
Some sort
what's
of
the other
Bible
ones?
people.
Some sort of
Jehovah's
Bible
Witness.
people, Michael. They're knocking on doors asking you to talk about Jesus. And they're not having a great time, Michael, because as you know, we live in a secular world that's a bit done with religion. We now flock to huge cathedrals of popular music, Michael, like that of Tay Swift, and her taking over of a 40,000-seater stadium in Dublin for 3 nights.
3 nights, give it over, Taylor Swift.
Um,
Take a rest. Have a little sit down.
Take a rest, Tay.
Yeah.
Jesus. We are going to stop criticising her in any way, otherwise we'll end up on the next album. And my ego couldn't, I won't lie.
Oh, that would be an
Um,
achievement, Ben. That would be pretty awesome if you managed to get yourself on an album getting dissed.
Imagine what it'd do for our numbers, Michael.
Incredible stuff.
Oh. But anyway, unfortunately, Michael, and something I've always thought quietly in my head is, eventually they knock on a door and somebody says, come in. Now, if I was a Jehovah's Witness, or if
Yes.
I was a Mormon,
Yes.
I spent my life being rejected, right?
Yeah.
I would be very fucking wary when someone enthusiastically said, oh yeah, in you pop. I'd go, fuck no. Absolutely fucking not.
Then that's pretty much my
Uh,
early 20s you've described there.
So that's unfortunately what happens to these two young ones, Michael. Hugh Grant goes, come on, in you pop.
Yeah.
And there's a very good, I liked the creepy kind of aha moment for her where she realizes, because the entire setup is about a blueberry pie, Michael, which is hilarious, really, when you think about it. he says, my wife is baking a pie. But Michael, she realizes right towards the end of the conversation when he's gone off to the kitchen that there's a blueberry-scented candle being burned in the corner of the room. And that's where the blueberry pie smell is. And they realize, oh no, we
Doesn't have a wife.
fucked it.
Benjamin, which is absolute
Yeah.
fucking horseshit, because there's not a candle in the world that smells convincingly like the thing it says it is.
But they're sheltered Mormons, Michael. They might not have any
Ah.
concept of what blueberry pie actually smells like.
That's what it is. That's what it is, exactly. They've
Yeah.
never been to... Oh, shite. What's the name of that shop that does the candles? The candle shop.
Yankee Candle.
Yankee Candle. They've never been subjected
Yeah.
to Yankee Candle before.
Yeah. I'm hoping, Michael,
Yes.
that it's going to be some sort of riff on Little Jack Horner who sat in a corner. But it's probably not. But I'd like a creepy rendition of that in a stretched out, echoey form at some point during the
Yeah.
film.
Yeah,
Please.
look. I'm all for this. This looks good and exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
But you're right, it came from the directors of A Quiet Place, so that'll be interesting to see in itself, Michael. Not the directors, the writers? Producers.
I thought
Yeah,
it wasn't
old Johnny Krasinski.
Johnny, because didn't Jack Ryan direct A Quiet Place?
Jack Ryan. Yes, he did. But Michael,
What?
speaking of creepy, ugly, bugly, Christian-driven horror,
Yes, go on.
got a pretty weird trailer for a Hellboy film this week.
No. Fuck this, Benjamin, right? My friend and yours, Sean, sent me this trailer. And my initial reaction was, wait a minute now. Hold on a second. If there was a new Hellboy, surely we would have known about it. And he said to
Surely.
me, this is what he said to me. Yeah, no, I know, I've been telling you about it for a year, but you didn't believe me. And yet, Ben, I think I didn't believe this. I think I didn't believe that they actually were rebooting Hellboy again.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. Pretty fair, you know? Like, why would they do it again?
What?
It really feels now like this might be, Michael, classic case of, oh no, we don't want to lose the rights to the Fantastic Four. Quickly, make another film.
Go on.
Because, Michael, what we got for this is a fan film quality
Yeah. Yeah, it is a bit, isn't it?
Amityville horror kind of vibe.
A little bit.
Look, there's a few interesting things going on here. This is called Hellboy the Crooked Man. And
The crookedy
the
fella.
first thing that you need to the first thing you need to understand about that as a concept is this is arguably based on it's not. This is based on arguably
Yes.
thank
That's
you.
much better. That's much better and makes much more sense.
That makes a lot more sense. On what is considered to be the
No, Ben, hold
darkest
on.
Hellboy.
Hold on. Ben, go back to the first thing you said. Just, I want to riff.
Arguably, this is based on
Yeah. Keep going.
the darkest Hellboy
Yeah.
story in existence.
No,
The
it
Crooked
isn't.
Man.
That's it.
It's
That's
gonna
all
be
I've got.
fucking unlistenable. This is going to be awful. But look,
Yes.
The Crooked Man, Michael, came out in 2008, and it was written by Mike Mignola, the creator of Hellboy, and it was illustrated by Richard Corbin.
Richard Corbin. That's a familiar name.
Yeah, Richard Corbin's popped up on a lot of stuff, Michael. If you've ever read a comic
I
and
have.
gone, why don't I want to turn the lights out before I go to sleep? It's probably Richard Corbin.
Oh, he's a real creepy fella,
He illustrates some real creepy shit. He's got a very good scratchy style. He's very good at creating quite an unnerving visual. He's good at body horror. He's good at discomfort. He's also
He's also dead.
passed away since,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Yeah, he has. But he would have been famous for many covers on the likes of John Carter and Princess
Yeah.
of Mars.
Any sort of swords and sandals and sorcery sort of stuff.
Yeah, he's a Frank Frazetta contemporary, essentially. But his work on The Crooked Man is genuinely unnerving and will linger in your brain. This is one of those classic Hellboy stories that doesn't take part in the main continuity, but is one of the kind of prequel offshoots.
Oh, very good.
Michael, that they do, because famously, Hellboy has a little bit of longevity to him, and he doesn't age the same way everybody else does. So you could see a Hellboy adventure in the 1950s where Hellboy doesn't look anything different from what he looks like in, say, And that's exactly what's happening here, Michael. Exactly what's happening here. In the 1950s, Hellboy comes to a town and he encounters a man called Tom Ferrell. And Tom Ferrell has sold his soul to a devil in the region called the Crooked Man. And that, Michael, very much like the film Heretic, was based on a nursery rhyme. There was a crooked man who built a crooked house. I can't remember the full thing, but it's creepy. And the Crooked Man is an Appalachian devil, essentially, doing the old crossroads deal, Michael. And I suppose what makes this very unnerving is, as opposed to deep historical folklore, the like of medieval French fairy tales or Celtic mythology,
Baba Yaga.
you know, Dante's Inferno-esque inspirations. Those were all core inspirations for early Hellboy comics. This is the slightly creepier, slightly more modern version of that, in that it's set in Appalachia. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, the Appalachian Mountains are wildly renowned to be incredibly haunted and very dangerous. Right?
Full of Americans, Ben.
Americans.
Crawling with the little bastards.
Very good. Don't go hiking without your long socks on, or Americans will bite you. But come here to me.
What is it?
Appalachia is supposedly full of ancient evil. It's wandering around the woods. Now, one of my favorite things, Michael, on TikTok or Instagram is when people... One of the great rules of Appalachia is if you hear something call your name, no, you didn't. If something knocks at your door, no, it didn't. After dark.
I like this.
It's a famous thing. And I really enjoy that. I enjoy that kind of nonsensical creepiness, or the coexistence of humans and others, if you want to look at that. And as long as you follow the rules, you'll probably be grand. So there's a few rules in Appalachia, and feel free to correct me, ladies and gentlemen, anytime you'd like. Leave us a comment down below this, or, you know, hop up on the Discord that's linked in the description there and tell me if I'm wrong. But
up on it.
basically, there are a few golden rules to do with Appalachia, which are, if something calls your name, no, it didn't. You ignore it. You don't respond to it. You don't give it power by interacting with it, essentially.
Dave.
Dave. Say again?
Dave.
Yeah, exactly.
Dave.
Exactly.
Dave. Dave.
I don't have to worry about this, ladies and gentlemen, because my name's not Dave. But there are other examples. For example, if you hear a knock on your door after dark, no, you didn't. If you see your parents or a loved one outside your house after dark and it doesn't make any sense, no, you didn't. You know, there's a lot of myths about like skinwalkers and people wearing faces and this kind of thing. And basically, if you give in to them, they'll eat you or they'll find you, or, you know, it's an ill-defined end to things. But it essentially, Michael, very interestingly, it is an almost colonial adaptation of Native American folklore, because skinwalkers, Wendigos, the beast in the woods kind of thing is a classic bit of First Nations folklore, and it's kind of made its way into Appalachia, and it's very interesting. And interestingly enough, Michael, the mountain range that is Appalachia today shares an ancient, way before the continents split, it shares apparently something to do with Bray in Wicklow, the Wicklow Way.
I bloody knew it, Ben.
So that's a bit of fun. But anyway, it wouldn't surprise me, Michael, based on this trailer, if this was filmed in Bray. But anyway, the reason that this is kind of a significant Hellboy story is that Hellboy can't really fight his way out of it. The Crooked Man is not a Christian or a Lovecraftian or a kind of medieval horror. Something that Hellboy is very familiar with. Hellboy fights that kind of thing all the time. The Crooked Man is a bizarre entity belonging to Appalachia. And you see it a little bit in the trailer with the cracking bones and the strange angles and all that kind of thing. But Hellboy doesn't really know how to deal with him. And Richard Corbin's art made this absolutely horrific to watch. And you can see it on full display in this trailer. Now, what I will say about this trailer, Michael, is there's elements of it that I really enjoy.
Go on.
But it feels like it's lacking that final polish to it to make it a proper film. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people are having a go at the representation of Hellboy that we're seeing here.
I think he looks quite good. I think he looks quite comic book.
So that's my contention as well. He looks very comic booky. If you are in any way familiar with the comic book character, Hellboy is quite a slight figure. What makes him imposing is the giant stone fist. Now, Hellboy is supernaturally powerful, but his build doesn't relay that necessarily. It's a very kind of sleeper build, if you want to use the concept, Michael.
Yeah. I thought the David Harbour one was a bit too big and a bit too stylized. Like this CW version.
Yeah, because Hellboy walks around the world in the comics, Michael, and he's out of place, but he's still a realistic part of the environment. He's not larger than life. He is a horned man that happens to be walking around. But other than that, pretty on the money there. So he's played by Jack Kesey, or Kesey. I'm not sure.
I've never heard of him before this.
He was Black Tom in Deadpool 2 in the prison. So there you go. There's a fun fact for you, Michael. Jack Kesey has a who's who of B-movie roles, and I think that might be the final nail in the coffin for the quality of the film we're about to watch. His most notable role was in the TV series The Strain, which was the weird leech vampire parasite ugly boogly thing on FX a couple of years ago.
That was good.
Yeah, it was good. A really interesting reinterpretation of bloody vampires. Pretty interesting. But he's in this, and yeah, look,
go on.
It's fine. Like I said, it's got good tones, Michael. But the issue, I think, is we've just seen this movie a million times. This is the Amityville Horror. It's any of the Appalachian possession films that you see. You know, we've seen The Hill Have Eyes, but it's a bit crooked this time. You know, there's not much to this, I think, that we can say. Also, Michael, one of the strangest things I've ever seen. Did you see the weird subtitles on this trailer?
No, I don't think there were subtitles on the one I watched. What was weird about the subtitles?
There are bizarre stylized subtitles for certain characters speaking, and I think it's for the characters that speak with Appalachian accents, to which I would say, that's a bit dodgy. You'd want to fucking watch yourself there.
I don't remember. I don't think I noticed that.
No, well...
Anyway, I'm quite hopeful about this. I actually enjoyed this trailer. I think... I like the idea of Hellboy just solving a relatively simple one-off ghost mystery.
Yeah, bring it on.
And not being about the right hand of doom and he's the harbinger of the apocalypse and all that shit. Just give us a... This looks like the Hellboy TV series I would have wanted.
Yeah, I mean, look, it does have... It's funny enough, it has that CW Swamp Thing vibe. Do you remember from a couple of years ago, we got one season and it was cancelled midway through, but it has that kind of feeling to it. It has early Supernatural vibes to it, Mike. It's no bad thing.
Yeah. You know what else vibes it has? It has the vibes of that season of Riverdale that became a horror.
Yeah, it does. And that's,
it has that,
again...
that CW vibe to it.
Not a bad thing, necessarily. You know, like... It has the color grading of the entire Purgatory set of the Supernatural series, where Dean gets trapped in the Hunter's realm. And
he's legging it around, going, I have to find mushrooms or whatever.
Yeah, mushrooms. That was it. He was looking for mushrooms. But come here to me. Look, I think this is fine if you take it for what it is. I think one of the great failings of David Harbour's Hellboy, apart from being no good,
that was the main failing. Then, to be honest, it was just no good.
I think the major failing of that, Michael, was they incorporated many of the hits from the comics, but the hits from the comics were not introductory stories. They were deep lore stories. For example, one of the key events of the David Harbour Hellboy movie was the Wild Hunt and him attempting to be offed by an ancient order of British knights because he was a harbinger of the apocalypse. That comes very late in Hellboy's run and is a pivot for the character into kind of an Arthurian paragon, which is really interesting, but not great for an hour-and-a-half movie where people don't really know Hellboy.
Yeah, just get him to solve a supernatural mystery for you with his big hand.
Yeah. And then if you manage to spin a franchise out of that, you know, make it
all the better.
Make it into something bigger.
Just
you
make
know?
the first one good.
But-
Benjamin,
Yeah.
speaking of spinning franchises out of something. I beat you to it, you son of a bitch. Stole your segue. Yeah, Kite Man Hell Yeah is getting a bloody TV show. I have no idea what this is. I didn't watch the trailer. You do this, Ben. You do this. You carry this.
This is so interesting, Michael.
Go on.
So it's no secret that for the last couple of years, one of the biggest hit properties for DC, probably much to their own chagrin, Michael, is Kaylee Cuoco's Harley Quinn
Yes.
on HBO Max or HBO Go or whatever they're fucking calling it these days, Michael. This was a series that premiered in 2019, pre-pandemic, Michael, and it is one of the most irreverent treatments of the DC universe, but particularly the Batman continuity that you will ever see. And Michael, it is, in my opinion, a breath of fresh air. Now, you will never find a greater Batman fan than I. I fucking love Batman. I love the animated series. I love the comic runs. I love the whole Bat family. I think it's fucking amazing. But if there's one thing you could criticize about the Bat family,
Yes.
is it's very fucking serious.
Always so serious,
Jesus,
Benjamin.
lads.
Always so serious. Benjamin, was this the cartoon show that caused the kerfuffle in DC because DC said that Batman would never give a woman a big lick out?
Yeah, exactly, Michael.
That was
It
this,
was
wasn't
established in Harley. Yeah, it was established in Harley Quinn, Michael, the 2019 series from Kelly Cuoco,
Yes.
that Batman not only would absolutely become a cunning linguist if the situation arose, but nigh on savoured it in this series, Michael. Big fan of that particular ancient martial art. Is the Batman of this. Now, Michael, famously incredibly irreverent, with a phenomenal voice cast, which I think, first of all, what looks to be high effort animation. None of your fucking farm it out to a Korean animation studio for fucking pittance stuff here, Invincible on Amazon Prime, you fucks. None of that. This is what looks to be a very high-end animated thing. Budget went into it, but the other amazing thing about this, Michael, is a voice cast of very beloved voice actors. So Lake Bell plays Poison Ivy. This is also the series, Michael, that established Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn as an official lesbian couple. So this is the one that, we had it hinted for years that there was a possible romantic involvement between Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. And this is the series that went, oh no, they're madly in love. And Kite Man actually has a huge part to play in that. But anyway, wildly successful series, still being made. Some serious voice cast. Kaylee Cuoco is a wonderful Harley Quinn. Lake Bell is a phenomenally cynical and detached Poison Ivy. Alan Tudyk is both Clayface and the Joker. He's amazing as both. Ron Funches plays King Shark. Tony Hale from Arrested Development is Dr. Psycho. And they got none other than Diedrich Bader back to be Batman. And he was famously Batman in Batman the Brave and the Bold, the now beloved children's adaptation of the Brave and the Bold series from the 1970s.
Lance Reddick, too. His final role for television.
Was it his final role?
Lance Reddick's final role for television is in this show, is in Kite Man. He's going
That's
to be
mad.
Lex. He's going to
That's
be Lex
absolutely
Luger.
mad. He's going to be Lex Luger, is he indeed?
Yeah. The
Is he
90s
indeed?
American wrestler Lex Luger.
Very good. Love it. I don't know if you're being serious or not. I can't tell.
No, he's going to be Lex Luthor. I was purposely mixing up
Oh, he's going to be
Lex
Lex
Luthor and Lex
Luthor.
Luger.
Very good. Very good. But come here to me. Kite Man's getting a spin-off, Michael. And this is bizarre. The evolution of Kite Man, Michael, might be one of my favourite things in comics. So,
Go on.
Kite Man was the product of that great DC writing strategy in the 1960s of, we'll have a dartboard on one side of the room with a series of nouns.
Yeah.
And on
Crow.
the other side of the room,
Chair. Yes.
and on the other side,
Yeah. Neil Gaiman. Just looking around my room, Ben.
and on the other side of the room, Michael, they had another dartboard with the segments cut into man, woman,
Yeah.
man, woman,
Yeah.
man, woman, and then just for diversion, boy, girl. And what they did for any Batman comic or any Superman comic really was they'd take a dart, they'd lob it to one side of the room, and they'd lob it to another side of the room, and they'd come out of it and they'd go, okay, this week is Pen Man, and he loves ink. Because when he was a boy, he got covered in ink and made fun of in school because he was dyed blue. And now he does ink-related crimes. So he tries to
Ink-related
steal the
crimes.
world's most ink-related crimes. So every week he tries to steal something related to ink. One week it might be an Indian Raja's favoured ink pot made out of jade found in the Bengal forest. That'd be good, wouldn't it? That'd be good.
I don't know.
And
It's borderline
and
problematic.
it's on
to be
loan.
honest.
And it's on. They were all borderline problematic. I think that's the
Oh,
issue.
good.
I don't think that's me so much as the 60s. But anyway, come here. Out of this came Kite Man. Kite Man made his first appearance in Batman 133 in 1960.
Oh, go on.
And he was a villain of the week. He had his theme. It was kites. Everything he did was related to kites.
Just leaping about the place on a kite.
And that's pretty much who he was. And he was a joke up until Tom King took over the Batman run. And Tom King did his own version of Grant Morrisoning, which is he delved into the history of Batman and then completely reinvented characters. So Tom King, love him or hate him, Tom King has been very influential on the Batverse. And Tom King in general, if Grant Morrison's shtick is delving into the archives, finding something a bit mad, dragging it forward, and amping the crazy up to 11. Tom King's shtick is taking characters, making them fucking miserable, and watching us deal with that. He fucking loves that. And he keeps getting to do it. So Tom King started with Scott Free from the New Gods. And basically showed us what depression, PTSD, postpartum anxiety looks like in a New God.
That was a miserable as fuck comic book. Not bad.
We read it on our other
Yeah,
podcast. No, good,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
fucking miserable.
Yeah.
He then got to do Strange Adventures, which was an adaptation of Adam Strange, and we got to watch the fall of the planet Rand's beloved hero, Adam Strange, and he had to deal with that as he was accused of murder across the galaxy. Fucking grim again, Michael. And then he got his hands on Human Target, which was again another character from the 1960s. The Human Target was a bodyguard who would take on the appearance of other people and essentially be their body double to help them avoid things like that. And we got to see that, and his life falls apart, and he's an addict, and there's all kinds of weird things happening there, and it's miserable. And that's Tom King's gig. And he did the exact same thing, Michael, with Kite Man. Kite Man was a relatively unknown light character, and in the War of the Jokes and Riddles, one of the key stories in his Batman run from 2016 to 2019, he murders Kite Man's son.
Ugh.
And we get to watch Kite Man try and, I guess, move past that. And Kite Man develops a phrase in this run, which is hell yeah.
Kite Man,
And
yeah.
hell yeah is kind of Kite Man's delusional battle cry, because in the beginning he is possessed of the notion that eventually he's going to come right. He is going to be a real supervillain that's taken seriously, that, you know, is a threat and blah. And it never comes to fruition. And then he loses his son, Michael, and we see him develop kind of a pathos as a result of that. Now, I don't believe in fridging. I don't believe in burying your gays. And I certainly don't believe in stringing up your children for the sake of backstory. But that's what Tom King does. That's kind of his thing. But this was kind of mocked a little bit in the Harley Quinn series, and hell yeah, Kite Man became a key character in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but very much what we should have seen was his delusional kind of hell yeah attitude makes him the butt of every single fucking joke. He's just a loser, and it's great. But it led to a memification of the character, if you want. And that's how we've got Kite Man Hell Yeah, a spin-off series on HBO Go. This guy's just trying to make it. It's bizarre.
Fabulous.
Fabulous. Great stuff altogether.
Great. Look, sure, you'll give it a watch. Benjamin, speaking of great stuff altogether, though, we're gonna save the MCU because we're gonna have all the cameos we've ever wanted in Deadpool versus Wolverine.
Marvel has basically said, Michael, look, we hear what you're saying, guys. You're a bit sick of the humdrum cameo of the week, constantly churned out content from our Marvel division. No problem at all. But first,
yes,
let's do it again in Deadpool.
Let's do it again in Deadpool. But this time we're going to do it with budget and bring back everyone you've ever wanted and have every scene you ever wanted, including finally resolving Wolverine versus the actor Daryl Carolot.
Is it not Tyler Mane?
Yeah, Daryl Carolot's his real name. Tyler Mane's his wrestling name. That's like calling Hulk Hogan. His name's Terry.
Oh, right, okay. I didn't realise that at all, Michael.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, one of the famous... I mean, look, Tyler Mane played him in the 2000s X-Men from Bryan Singer, right?
Great stuff.
And it was a bit silly. His eyebrows alone, Michael, were worthy of a bit of mocking.
Great big bushy eyebrows he had, Benjamin. Like Brian Blessed.
Yeah, so exactly. He had a great big bushy eyebrow set. And that was Tyler Mane. And he was completely silent, except for growls. And
yeah.
Suppose for one of Marvel's most famous rivalries between Wolverine and Sabretooth, where it's quite literally tooth and claw. And ladies and gentlemen, you can find that episode linked below in the description where we did a deep dive on the origins of that rivalry. We won't get into it here, Michael. We just don't have time.
We did it 2 weeks ago or something. Or a month ago. Or 7 years ago. I can't tell anymore.
It's nearly 3 months ago now, Michael. 3 months ago.
H Christ.
Jesus H fucking Christ, Michael. I can't keep this shit up. But anyway...
Yes, go on.
I'm crumbling. But anyway, Tyler Mane came in. He played this bizarre version of him. It was good. It was fun to watch them. He had kind of a wild man version of Sabretooth. We weren't doing costumes because in the really cool, ironic, detached 2000s, comic book accurate costumes weren't cool.
So we didn't get costumes, man.
Yeah, so we didn't get the Sabretooth with the big mane of fur and the tan and yellow color scheme. You know, we didn't get any of that. We got a wild man, which I kind of enjoyed. He wore pelts and was going to fuck people up. And then, Michael, one of the things that didn't survive into 2009's X-Men Origins was Tyler Mane. He didn't make it.
No, he got replaced by an actor.
Yeah, he got replaced by an actor, unfortunately for him. So Liev Schreiber stepped in and got to take over the role of Sabretooth. And frankly, Michael, the only good thing about 2009's X-Men Origins Wolverine was the rivalry between Hugh Jackman and Liev Schreiber, because that was the Sabretooth and Wolverine I wanted.
And it's all about keeping you happy, is it?
Yeah, exactly, Michael. Don't you forget it.
Okay, I won't.
I can say that, ladies and gentlemen, safely on the other side of a camera, because otherwise Mick would fucking suplex me into the dirt.
Versus Sabretooth situation.
I'd be fucked, Michael. I'd be fucked. But anyway, Michael, Ryan Reynolds understands the joy of unresolved continuity like nobody's business. And he has gone back and they have gotten in touch with Tyler Mane. And they've said, do you know what? We're doing alternate worlds. Let's get Tyler Mane back in there. And we got a teaser trailer this week of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine squaring off against Tyler Mane's Sabretooth. And Michael, it was good.
Oh, it's great. Fabulous stuff. Nice MMA references from Ryan Reynolds, famous MMA fan Ryan Reynolds.
Is he a big MMA fan? A MMA fan?
Yeah. Take him down, he says, Ben. Side control, then to the full mount, then ground and pound till he doesn't make a sound.
Are those famous catchphrases from MMA?
Oh, yeah, big time. Joe Rogan probably taught him those.
Joe Rogan.
You love Joe Rogan. What's wrong with you?
I do not. I do love human growth hormone, but not Joe Rogan. That's mainly because Joe Rogan is taking the entire supply of human growth hormone, and I can't get my hands on any, Michael.
There's none left. You
Fuck's
can't
sake.
All Ben wants is to be barrel-shaped, but he can't.
Ever since I first played Super Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Michael, I thought, I too could trip up a short Italian plumber in New York. But I just can't do it. It's not possible. It's very annoying. But yeah, we got that trailer, Michael, and not much else.
That's it. That's all we have to say about it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Look, moving on from there, Michael. Fuck me, there's so much stuff, Michael.
Batman Cape Crusader!
I think we're going to have to make this just a fucking reaction episode this week.
No, come on.
Because I don't think we're getting around to it.
We can do it. We can do it.
You might be able to. I don't know. Michael, we got a trailer for Batman Cape Crusader this week. And this
Sorry, what did we get a trailer for,
Michael.
Ben? What did we get a trailer
What did I say? Fuck.
I think you said Batman the Craped Crusader, which sounds like...
Crept Crusader, a little-known French variant on our good friend from Gotham. I am vengeance. I am the syrup. I am the Crept Crusader.
I think, is the Crept Crusader not what he calls himself when he's been defeated by his nemesis, Crep Man? One of the famous 60s characters.
Crep Man got him.
He just
the
lopping crepes at him.
dartboard character.
Yeah, lopping crepes at him, and Batman's like, oh no, I've been covered in crepes. I'm the Crept Crusader.
Yes, that is precisely correct, Michael.
Bad riff. Love Crep Man, though. Favorite podcast character we've ever created.
Ladies and gentlemen, luckily for you, there's only one more episode before we take our summer break. Fucking reset. Who knows? We might not come back, ladies and gentlemen. We'll wait and see.
Now I know where you live, Ben. I'll find you.
He'll find me. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we got a trailer for Batman Caped Crusader this week. Another animated Batman adaptation, because DC is too afraid to ever make any other character into an animated series. Fuck me, it's another Batman adaptation.
Except Kite Man, then.
Yeah, well, okay, fair. Good. Well done. Well done, Michael. You've hoisted me by my own petard, Michael.
There's
played.
actually a Kite
That
Man
is
cartoon
also
coming out.
I would like to point out it's set in the Batverse. So, is it really straying that far from what we've come to expect? But anyway, we're getting another one. But this one has me properly intrigued, Michael, because this taps into a Batman, a bit of the DNA of Batman that is quite often ignored in modern adaptations. I've spoken before on this podcast, Michael, about how Batman now, thanks to Grant Morrison, is essentially super detective Batman.
What do you call him? Derisively.
Yes, derisively Bat-God. And I hate Bat-God because I don't think there's any great challenge in Bat-God. Now, luckily, in modern adaptations, in the very modern comics that we're seeing these days, for example, Batman Failsafe, Michael, we are seeing the hubris of Bat-God in full force from the likes of Chip Zdarsky. That's fabulous to see. But Bat-God is essentially, I've got one over on Batman, and Batman goes, no, you didn't, I prepared for this. And it's who'd win in a fight, Batman or Superman? And everyone logically says Superman. He'd be a red smear on the ground in 2 minutes flat.
Because of all the superpowers.
But then Batman said, yeah. But then Batman says, no, I had nano kryptonite in your water supply for years. All it ever needed was me to touch you with this electrical shock to activate the nanobots. And I hate that version of Batman. The early versions of Batman, Michael, were very different. So I think what we forget quite a bit is Batman first appeared in 1939, Michael, in Detective Comics number 27.
Very nearly public domain.
Very nearly public domain. We're coming for you, Batman. But Bob Kane, it was me spitting on Bob Kane.
Yeah, that's what I thought was. That's what I thought was happening. Yeah, very good.
Bit of a dick. And then Bill Finger, good man, overshadowed for decades. But we got him back. So Bill Finger kind of came up with most of this concept. But he was essentially, in those days, Michael, spin-off of pulp comics and pulp stories with detectives and guns and gangsters. Detectives, guns, and gangsters. Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. And one of the ways that they kind of distinguished him from other pulp heroes, Michael, was to include very gothic elements, particularly monstrous villains.
Oh, do go on.
So in the early days of that 30s Batman, he often goes up against what is now unofficially recognized as the Monster Society. What that meant was it was usually villains with a grotesque appearance, kind of something that would spring from Victorian penny dreadfuls.
Right.
And this has largely been forgotten about. Even in all the Elseworlds things, even in all the things, they always zone in on Batman is a detective. Batman is a detective. But once upon a time, Michael, Batman flew a plane that had a Gatling gun strapped to the front of it, and he used that to shoot monsters.
Oh, yeah. That sounds normal. Normal
That's a real thing that used to happen. And this, Michael, seems to be a love letter to that. Now, there's a bit of controversy around this as it's been released, because Hamish Linklater, Michael, is doing the voice of Batman.
Richard Linklater?
No, Hamish Linklater, Michael,
Okay.
who you recently name-dropped on this podcast, thanks to Midnight Mass. He's the priest in Midnight Mass.
Oh, yes, he is. We never said his name. I've just
Or
realised.
Yeah, or the villain in Legion, which we loved as well.
Yeah, very good.
Um,
Is he related to Richard Linklater?
I
Surely
don't
not.
actually know.
Check that while you spin your
Probably
wheels there.
not. I can't imagine so. It's a pretty common American name. But anyway, pretty big. But Michael, we are in the era, I guess you could call it the post-Conroy era, because Kevin Conroy passed away 2 or 3 years ago now. And for many of us, the voice of our childhood for Batman was Kevin Conroy. So we have the automatic detractors who are like, oh, this is a terrible Batman voice. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was a good, detached, noirish Batman. I liked it.
Good.
I liked it a lot, to be honest. But one of the things I really enjoyed about this, Michael, is it is leaning into the grotesque disfigurement of the villains in early Batman comics. So we catch a hint of Harvey Dent at one point. We catch a hint of Two-Face. It's not Two-Face that's cartoonishly kind of disfigured with purple skin or blue skin or anything like that. It's just a very disfigured man with one side of his body that's been very damaged. And that's only a hint of what we get. We also see glimpses of Hugo Strange, Michael, in the trailer. We see glimpses of Clayface, maybe not as we'd know him, but certainly as he was originally portrayed in the 1940s. And we get glimpses of Man-Bat and other grim characters that we see. And all of these, Michael, are fabulous renditions of the early Monster Society. So Hugo Strange being the most famous example. Hugo Strange is a mad psychologist that is driven to create monsters out of men. He has a monster serum that he sticks people with and turns them into beasts. And he was one of Batman's earliest recurring rivals. And the shtick that Hugo Strange was kind of famous for was, I'm dead. Oh, I died at the end of this adventure. And then a couple of weeks later, it'd be, I didn't die. I got you.
I was only messing. I was never dead at all.
I was only messing. I was only messing the whole time. And that was his theme for years, Michael. And then many years later, spoilers for a comic that came out in the 1970s, Hugo Strange finally died. And that became the basis of what is commonly recognized as a turning point for the Batman mythos, which is called Strange Apparitions, which we've read on our other podcast, Collecting Issues, the bi-weekly comic book club.
That's the second time it's come up.
And that's the second time it's come up in this very episode, Michael. But come here to me. Those grotesque versions became a staple of that early thing, and they're all back in this adaptation of the Caped Crusader. Fabulous fucking stuff, Michael. Now, I'm not going to have time to go on to the bit I really wanted to talk about, but that's okay.
Which was
That's
what?
okay, Michael.
Go on. Go on, do it, Ben. Do it for us.
We just lean in. We lean in.
Go on, fucking lean into it.
So, in the Caped Crusader, it's not all classic villains from the 1940s. We get an appearance of a late 90s villain who is possibly my favorite kind of unrecognized supervillain in the Marvel universe or in the DC universe, and that's Onomatopoeia, Michael. You would have seen him at a glimpse. He says, we see a character in gangster getup, because it's still set in the 1940s by the look of this trailer, in gangster getup, but he has 2 circles on his face, Michael, and he says bang, and that instantly, Michael, lets us know exactly who this character is. This is the cult 1998 supervillain created by none other than Kevin Smith, Michael.
From out of Mallrats.
Yes, that Kevin Smith, Michael. When he was writing on Green Arrow in 1998, he made his first appearance in Green Arrow in 1998. Green Arrow number 12, 1998. And his name was Onomatopoeia.
Go on.
And Onomatopoeia is kind of like if Batman became a vigilante, but a bad vigilante, otherwise known as a serial killer.
A real
You know,
Dexter.
he is a bit of a Dexter type character. He's very unusual in that he has no superhuman powers. He's an incredibly skilled marksman, martial artist, master tactician, and the only sound he makes, Michael, is the sounds of the environment he's in. He mimics them in a form of onomatopoeia. So, for example, if your kitchen sink is dripping, the only way you might know that onomatopoeia is in the room is if you stop the sink from dripping and the drip keeps going.
Oh, he'll just be
Because
there going,
onomatopoeia is...
plop, plop.
Yeah. I suppose one of the things that made him terrifying was that his obsession, or his MO, as Criminal Minds would put it, Michael, his MO was that he was obsessed with non-powered vigilantes, the likes of Green Lantern, the likes of Green Arrow, the likes of Batman, the likes of I don't know who else there is there. Robin, Nightwing, any of them. Lads.
Red Hood.
Red Hood. Oh,
Wildcat.
I'm longing for a good old fashioned Red Hood versus Onomatopoeia, Michael. That is a comic I would fucking snatch up. But anyway, I remember the first introduction to this because I have the comic that I'm currently showing you in the slideshow. I have this issue because I picked it up in one of those Forbidden Planet €1 back catalogue stacks.
Oh, very good.
When I was a teenager. Yeah. And I became obsessed with this guy immediately. I thought he was the coolest character ever because one of the things that really unnerved me about him, Michael, was that he murdered people quietly. He didn't make a big deal about it. There was no villain monologue. There was no reason. There was no grand speech. He just snuck into people's rooms. The first introduction to him, Michael, is a fabulous set of panels where a once or twice Z-list crime fighter comes in from a night patrolling. Imagine Peter Parker coming back from the night's patrol to have dinner with Mary Jane, right?
Yes.
And he slips in his window and he's taking a shower and he's chatting the whole time to his partner. He's saying, "Oh, baby, tonight I took down this many bank robbers or this many things." And all the while, in the background, Michael, is drip. It has that classic comic book kind of sound effect where it's just big text and it's drip.
Drip. Yeah.
And as the panels continue, you realize that no one is replying to this vigilante as he is enthusiastically kind of yapping, getting washed down after a night of crime fighting, etc. And it's only when he comes into the kitchen that he realizes, number one, his partner is dead. And number two, Onomatopoeia is sitting at the kitchen table and the faucet isn't dripping. Onomatopoeia is. And then the next time we see him, Green Arrow is investigating the murder site of where this character died. I remember reading this when I was but a young teen, Michael, and going, fucking hell. Oh, what an ominous fuck. And I think it's arguably the best contribution that Kevin Smith has ever given us to comic books.
Yeah. Well, it was certainly better than that Black Cat Spider-Man issue that no one liked.
Oh, put it in the bin, Michael. Put it in the bin. But Onomatopoeia is one of those fabulous villains, Michael, that's unnerving because the bit I really love about it, Michael, is we don't know much about Onomatopoeia outside of his costume. The only hint we've ever gotten that Onomatopoeia has a backstory is Onomatopoeia one day goes home and we only ever see the panel from the neck up. So we don't see his face or anything like that. It's a story told in neck down panels. He goes back to his family, who are a perfectly normal white picket fence family, and he leads what we assume is a perfectly suburban life, unless he reads about a vigilante in the newspaper. And then off he goes and he fucking murders them. But we don't know anything more. Since 1998, Michael, we have no more information on what that is. Kevin Smith used him again in now a much maligned comic book run now for Batman called The Widening Gyre, based on the W.B. Yeats poem. And yeah, just a bizarrely mysterious, awful character. Great stuff. Great stuff.
Very good. And he's going to be in this show.
He's going to be in this show, apparently.
Well, that's the most important thing.
Right, what are we doing? We going to talk about Dark City?
Let's fucking wrap it up there. This was the 1960s Batman onomatopoeia episode instead.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, apologies. Our theme has changed significantly there.
Yeah.
I just ran over, unfortunately. But this is our breakdown of weird villains that are going to feature in the Caped Crusader. I suppose this is a DC villain episode, Michael, because we talked about Kite Man, we talked about Onomatopoeia, we talked about early 94. It's a DC villains fucking...
DC villains episode. That's
episode.
what it is.
That's what we're doing. And the best part is, Michael, I have to make the thumbnail, so I have to figure out how to make this fucking fit.
Figure it out.
Fabulous.
Fabulous.
So that's what it was. Ladies and gentlemen, apologies for that. But come here to me.
Go on.
Who's your favourite B-list DC Comics villain? Huh?
I reckon it's Azrael.
Oh yeah, he's weird, isn't he? He's weird.
Yeah. It's like Batman, but a bit religious.
Oh, he's just a religious nutjob, Batman. Batman by any other name, Michael, let's be honest. But come here.
Go on.
That question wasn't for you, Michael. It was for the listeners.
Oh, the listeners. Go on.
Yeah.
Do you have any other
They
questions?
can get in touch with us.
Very good.
Who do you like more, me or Mick?
Yeah. Yeah. And can you handle this delay in the audio? Because Mick and Ben can.
Mick and Ben can. We are fucking struggling. Fucking hell. Massive apologies, ladies and gentlemen, for what is possibly a bit of a stilted episode this week. We're in the midst of... Yeah, could be metal, could be great. We're in the midst of a nearing summer zenith, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think anyone's listening to podcasts anyway, but sure listen. But you can get in touch with us in a few different places, ladies and gentlemen. You can find us on Instagram at Sure Listen Podcast.
It means Sure Listen in English.
It does indeed, because I didn't do my normal bit. You can find us on the interwebs at www.seomrabeag.com, seomrabeag.com.
It means tiny room in Irish, kind of.
Does actually kind of a little bit. You can also find us on TikTok, our fastest growing social platform at Sure Listen.
Hop up on it and do a comment or something. Whatever you do on TikTok, I don't know. Just write something
People
racist.
comment on TikTok.
Is it? Is that what they do?
Oh, don't do that.
No, don't do that.
that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Stop it.
But come here to me, ladies
What?
and gentlemen. One of the best ways to get in
Yes.
touch with myself and Mick is to hop up on the Discord linked below in the description. You can get in touch with us. You can talk to us. I'll be revamping the Discord this week. I haven't told Michael this, but we're going to do a little spring cleaning on the Discord.
Are we going to do
it's
a little
gonna be
spring
great.
cleaning on the Discord? I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be great. But that's it from us this week, ladies and gentlemen. We might get around to Dark City another time. We didn't do it this week. Apologies for that. But bye.
See ya. I watched it for nothing. Rufus Sewell's in it.
Or Clive Owen.
Or Clive Owen. I thought it was good.